humility, and having good friends like you guys that share the same. It's really warming to be on this site. Once in a while we get the kids taken off, and it's okay. I can understand their thinking, This is, we don't think of evolvement sometimes. We always want to go back, and we don't think of unfoldment and evolvement, and we have to, for growth. And it's essential. Man's just really stuck in his ruts, and we've got to come out of that, and get away from so much intellectual thinking and bring in the spiritual thinking. If there is such a thing as spiritual thinking. But we'll keep conking on then. That's going to be good. Going to have to put up with me a little longer, though. I've got 2 hours to sit here longer. Superhuman 991. Yeah. Hello, Robert Morse. Oh, yeah, I was going over this. Is a fruit-only diet recommended for people that are athletes and work out a lot? No, not really. I mean, keep in mind, again, let's go back to this paleo primate type thinking. And even if you look at that, if you go into the primate world who maintain their environmental essentials, except for a few that got stuck and are more omnivorous, but we'd like to think that we are in a higher growth pattern in terms of consciousness as we go through the different species. Therefore, we should eat higher, more simplistic, less invasive, less radical, less violence involved, etc., etc., etc. So, but if you're an athlete and you're really pounding, I do recommend pumping green drinks and superfood blends, don't get me wrong. But I'm talking about detoxification. And believe it or not, I've had a lot of guys go high up fruits and athletes, and these guys, you can't catch them. I mean, endurance is massive, and they don't get the fatigue. So these are high levels, and the assumption that there's no nutrition or very little nutrition in fruits and berries is far wrong. That's where most of man's nutrition is. It's not in the ground, especially in bioavailability for Homo sapiens. So you really want to look a little better at that. But by all means, if you're an athlete, definitely pump the greens, especially if you're pumping the muscles and endurance. But it is also true that if you've got good kidneys and you're filtering your lymph system, all that acid you're producing during activity will move out in a very good way. So it's just like power or any energetic form. The less obstructions, the less resistance, the better the flow. Let me see, like I ate a lot of apples and I love them, but they are low in minerals. Well, again, low in minerals, vitamins, and proteins. But do we need all the recommended that we think that we do? And this is one of the problems that we face. We're using our intellectual mind when it comes to proteins and vitamins and minerals and all this kind of crap, yet foods are, this idea of vitamins and minerals, actually when you tear a food apart, a food has a massive amount of different forms of chemistry, from coumarins to flavonoids to tannins to alkaloids to all kinds of things. We're just fixated on vitamins and minerals, but there's so much more. And then you have your nano levels we don't know anything about. Then you have your micro nano levels, and then you have you see what I'm saying? You can't get an intellectual understanding of health. You can't do it. We're not smart enough. We don't even understand the basics yet. We don't even understand the lymph system yet. How are we going to understand all the other stuff? This nutritional concepts we have is like dark agey stuff. If you want to power pack yourself with nutrients, get a superfood blend. But that's far more nutrition than any other animal on the planet. And I dare say to you, it's not a nutritional issue. Ask yourself why you can achieve breatharian or high frugivore or fruitarian-like levels and survive well on them. A lot of people have. How did you describe to some of these yogas that they need the salts and the elements? Again, more salts than elements, keep that in mind. We're just fixated on the ground a lot. But how do we explain this 256-year-old Chinese man who claimed that he ate above the ground, not below the ground? How do you see? So I think it's better to be more intuitive, to work more from consciousness and let that guide you. If your consciousness tells you to go paleo, then you go paleo. But for this site, this isn't a This is a detoxification and Wellville site, and that's what I want to maintain. But you can really build up pumping the greens and the juices, but all your nutrition, you know, a little goes a lot way if you digest, if you absorb, and if you utilize, meaning good adrenals. See, we don't take in consideration when people are telling all the nutrition that we need, all what they suspect or they theorize that we need. You must understand that there is 3 phases before your body can get that nutrition. And most people have problems with those 3 phases and cannot. So more nutrition, more nutrition, more nutrition. Because we have these, no thought of the 3 phases that's essential. It is more nutrition, more nutrition, more nutrition, and I submit to you that's fallacy. That is limited. That's blinders on an Amish horse. We're not looking to the side, and we're not seeing the whole picture, and that's the problem. You must step back spiritually and see the whole. And the whole says you must digest your foods properly. Good liver, good bile, good pancreas, all your digestive enzymes. If you are into meat, you want some hydrochloric acid and the bicarbonate in the pancreas to neutralize it. That's phase 1. Phase 2, absorption. No interstitial lymphatic constipation. I'll say 7 out of 10 eyes I see on a daily basis have malabsorption. 10 out of 7. And then we have utilization. Study your adrenal steroids and you'll see how many steroids are involved in mineral utilization. What if your adrenals are real low and all your steroids are off? How are you going to force your body to utilize minerals without good steroids? And then of course there's the hormone for calcium. How are you going to correct that by eating more nutrition? You're not. You've got to fix your problems, and those problems rank more on the acid lymphatic side than they do on the nutritional side, because now that your glands are down, now that your lymph system's backed up and you're having malabsorption, now that your adrenals are genetically and weakened through diet, you got to correct those things if you want to be dynamically healthy. And when you do, you'll be surprised at how little nutrition goes a long way. So we have to consider these things. It's essential to wellness. If not, you're only seeing that much of the picture. And that's the problem with man on this planet. We're only seeing this little bits of pieces and we make judgment calls on that. Look at the whole thing. And that's where us spiritual people have it on the other ends. We look at the whole as opposed to the piece. This is why some of these questions like that. Love them, but they are low in minerals. Do I need to supplement with greens? Yeah, you don't have to supplement anything. But if you want to, I made a superfood blend for people that like to supplement. Nothing wrong with supplements if you do the whole food blends. You never isolate, remember, because you create more antagonistic chemistry. So definitely superfood blends, powered up with the green drinks. I'm not opposed to that at all. But just keep in mind that you're not trying to give yourself mega nutrition when the problem is lymphatic. And that doesn't serve us well to do that, because you can tell we get a lot of raw foodists in here and they still have cancer in them. How? Why? How is that possible? Because they're not moving lymph even on raw. You see, and a lot of people just entered the raw world. Just entered the raw world. I've been on the raw world for 40 years. And the last probably 10, not so much. Just the nature of it all, you know. So judge me as you will, but this is about healing and what we can do to help everybody be well. What we do ourselves, we do our own lives. I don't judge any of you and what you have to scrape through and what you have to do. If you want to have a Big Mac sometime, that's just what you do. Who cares? You know, but we're forming a huge bond in healing, and that's essential. It's essential healing for this site and for what we do. You want to heal in another way? You do whatever you want. I'm just offering you free information here to help you at the higher levels that I know of. Hey, I like to hear you play the drums there, Iron Cobra. Toot. Lump and throat, filtering of kidneys, depression, etc. Dear Dr. Morris, thank you so much for the comments on. Oh yeah, I think that's cool stuff, man. I'd like to hear you play. I would love to hear you play the guitar. Yeah, I was staying up at Busch Gardens up here. They're going to have the Ventures. And when the Ventures came out, what was it, in the 60s, that's where I saw that 12-string Mosrite. So I ordered one. I got a 12-string Mosrite, even though I wanted a 12-string Rickenbacker so bad. I've never bought me a Rickenbacker, but I always wanted a Rickenbacker. You know, the Beetle type of thing. But then Mutt was laughed at me for wanting a Rickenbacker. You know, it's like motorcycles. There's so many custom-made guitars now and stuff. It's unreal. My lead guitarist makes violins for a living and mandolins. And I mean, he's a fine craftsman, but he was a good lead guitarist. All he had to do was hear it once, and he could take off playing it. I was always jealous of that. Yeah, so, because I was divided up between several instruments, and so you have to divvy up some of your practice time between all those. I am a person who ate meat 10 years ago, threw up repeatedly, and have ever since had a lump in the throat sensation, herniation, swelling of esophagus. Yeah, I know. No, it's not visible. I've been there. Been there. I'm on day 14 of the second round of grape fasting. Woo! Trying to go, excuse me, another 14 days. I can't get too excited. Just pulling up more. Let me tell you, I love it. You know, I was in the Dominican, the DR, and it hurt. There was so much pollution. It hurt so bad. I got so much congestion. It burned my mucosa so bad. So I've been to places like that where I've got the mucus, and I just keep pulling that stuff out. It's hard not to be around toxicity when you're traveling. I mean, I got migraines from that. They don't use catalytic converters, and the DR is such a beautiful place. It's just a lot of acid pollution there. It really affects your throat, and my God, that was horrible. In terms of toxicity, you know, and I feel sorry for those poor people. They got all the beautiful fruits in the water, and then the air is killing them. Another 14 days. I've been taking Lymph Node 2. Lymph Node 2 capsules? You must tell me how you're doing on that. Lymphatic 1, gee, mini Christmas. You're honking, brother. Formulas for 2 weeks, and we'll keep them. The problem I am having is that my kidneys are not filtering. Urine is completely clear. I don't know what to tell you. You know, you see everybody on this site working to get their kidneys to filter. Pee in a jar and let it sit there. And see if you see any film in there, any mucus in there, maybe a little sediment on the bottom. Just, you know, keep working with it. Oh, they'll break loose, trust me. But this is what we see. And when we don't see it filtering, we don't see the lumps going down. So, but I have had people where they're filtering just a little bit, but you can't really see it real heavily, and their lymph is getting a little better, but it doesn't get real better until you see that robustness of that in the urine. So keep working with that, my friend. Don't get depressed. You'll be okay. Just relax. This will come out. You know, it's just time, and you're going to, just like me, and get that out. You could go through a real wicked, you know, bronchial thing. Okay. It's all hooked to the sinuses anyway. You want to drain the brain. You want to drain the esophagus. You want to get this out of there. So you need, come here. I'll give you a big hug. I am also depressed that I haven't allowed myself to exercise at all on a great fast because I've heard that kidneys won't filter if I do. Well, you can, but do it moderately. Do it moderately because you don't want to create acids you can't eliminate, and you see you're not filtering. So don't get depressed. Go for walks, you know, do some yoga, you know, do maybe some martial arts if you're into that a little bit. Can I at least play my favorite sport, hockey? Yeah, go at it, man. I'm just saying, you know, it's just something to watch for. That if you're feeling a little too stiff too long, back up a little bit till you get these acids going, and then go rip that cord apart.